Today I'm here to talk about the Manzanar Internment Camp for Japanese Americans. This camp was important to me because it showed how people made the best of their lives in a terrible situation. First, let's start where it all began. In February 1942, FDR signed the Executive Order 9066 for all Japanese Americans to be moved to different internment camps. There were 10 areas located between California, Arkansas, Arizona, Colorado, Idaho, Utah, and Wyoming. Manzanar was located in California off the old Highway 395, between the Sequoia National Park and Death Valley. It was 500 acres and housed over 10,000 Japanese Americans. It was a very different climate in this area. The Japanese Americans were not used to the desert environment where summers were over 110 degrees and the winters would drop below freezing. The camp was divided into 36 blocks, and up to 400 people lived in each block, shared between men, women, and children. There were communal showers, toilets, laundry room, and a mess hall. The only furnishings provided were straw-filled mattresses, cots, blankets, one oil stove per room, and a single light bulb. The Japanese Americans, I believe, they overcame fear and cruelty of what was going on in the country and began to establish their own sense of community, rules, and government. They started churches, temples, schools, stores, jobs. They built gardens and farms to support themselves. They even started their own sports teams for children and adults, and their very own newspaper. The newspaper was called the Manzanar Free Press. It helped the community keep up to date with the war as well as accomplishments they have made. The Japanese Americans were paid for their jobs like net making, tailoring, and the newspaper, making this first anywhere in internment camps. As the war came to an end, those Japanese Americans that held jobs and were paid were helped by the camp administrators to find jobs once they were released. Over 4,000 of them received permission to attend college, and most began to move towards the Midwest and East. Over 11,000 Japanese Americans came through the gates of Manzanar, and the last of them left in November of 1945, 3 months after the war had ended. In 1988 came the day of an apology, and a sigh of relief when President Reagan signed into legislation the official apology to all Japanese Americans who were forcibly relocated during the war, calling it civil rights disaster, and offered payments to those it affected. Thank you for your time and patience. I hope my presentation has shown a different side of what had happened during the war. If you are interested in learning more about Manzanar, it is still there in California and open to visitors who want to learn more.